y'all? It's Araneae Storm checking in for the Mars sign series. My name is Kru, also known as Araneae Storm, and I specialize in Mars activations as well as North Node and South Node consultations. So if you would like to book a personal reading with me, you can hit me up at araneastorm.wix.com/info, and then you can find me on all social media at Araneae Storm. So we're going to be talking about Mars, and we're going to be talking about Scorpio. But before I do, I want to mention this before. If you guys want to check out my Mars activation course, it is a series that I'm doing. This first series that I have dropped, because I'm starting fresh. This first series that I dropped, we'll be working with the energy of Pluto and how you can use the energy of Pluto to really transmute your energy and alchemize your energy to align you into your path. And using the Phoenix energy to go down into the darkness and rise into the light anew. So make sure y'all go check that out. Like I said, link will be below. If you want to check that out, it's on the website. It's up. You know what I'm saying? Support the kid. You know what I mean? And we're going to keep it rolling. I'm going to definitely have something up for next month, too, for those of y'all that want to come through for that workshop as well. I'm trying to find out a better way to actually do the workshops and stuff like that. But we're going to figure out by the time we get to the next one. But anyway, without further ado, let's get into Mars and Scorpio. So first and foremost, what is Mars? Mars is the energy. When we talk about this energy, it actually rules over Aries and Scorpio. This is Aries being cardinal fire and Scorpio being fixed water. This is a very fiery, hot planet. We talk about self-identity here, self-identification, the power that you harness within yourself. This is how you exude or exert your energy as far as taking action on things, as well as the energy that you use sexually. This is the energy that plays out when you are angry or you're arguing with people. This is the energy that rules weapons. You know what I mean? Your weapon of choice. If you're not using them hands, what is you using? You know what I'm saying? This is one of my favorite planets personally, besides Mercury. And I could definitely say the moon too would be another one of my Mars, Mercury, moon. That's so funny. All three M's, right? Would be my favorite three, because I feel like once you harness those energies, you can definitely get a deeper sense of who somebody really truly is to the core. So I study these three specifically really. Also North Node and South Node. Those are my other ones. I haven't mentioned those in any other videos, but North Node and South Node, that's why I specialize in it, because it's amazing what you can find out about somebody's past and where they've been and like what they've come to do in this lifetime. And I will get more into North Node and South Node. I did a workshop on it before, but I will definitely be getting deeper into those things as well. But back to Mars. So yeah, this is like the energy of Mars. It is the way you flirt as well, you know what I mean? And go, like I said, go after the things that you want. So when you have Mars come into Scorpio, you know, this is in its home, you know, besides Pluto, this is its home for it. So this is very powerful energy to work with. And I want to already say off the gate for Mars and Scorpio, baby, just be careful with how you wield this energy. I'm telling you, because it's very karmic energy. This is, you know, working with, you know, the past. This is Passover energy, the crossroads energy, you know, working beyond this reality, beyond the spiritual realm. But this is working with the underworld, you know, working beneath the surface with the underworld. Mars and Scorpio is definitely an energy that's able, like Moon in Scorpio, is able to connect with people that have died, that have passed, that have gone, spirits that dwell, that haven't been put or laid to rest, able to connect, channel energies that, you know, are long gone, have long passed. Very much so the warrior spirit. I put also looking for revenge. I put that on there. Looking for revenge. telling y'all, this is not the type of energy you want to piss off. This is not the type of energy that you want to piss off. Mars in Scorpio. Oh, wow. What? Sleeping with one eye open? Who? Huh? Did somebody say something? Sleeping with one eye open, G. Because it's not like they gonna turn off and just do some shit to you. Nah. These motherfuckers will sit and stew on some shit for years. Very strategic. Very creative energy. You know what I mean? And they'll stew on some shit. Very vengeful. Like stewing on how they want to take you down. They probably have even thought about many ways that they want to kill you, if I'm just being blunt. This is the type of energy, Mars and Scorpio, they probably have been thinking about maybe 1, 2, maybe even 70 ways of how to really dismember your body and put it into a morgue. Ask a Mars and Scorpio. I cannot make this shit up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they, trust me. If you've done something, or Mars and Scorpios feel like you've done something to them, trust me, they're probably still thinking about it. They're probably still holding it. And I'm not saying this because this is more, you know, I know when I talk about frequency. But, bruh, psychic as hell, intuitive as hell. You can't lie to these motherfuckers. As anybody with Scorpio energy, I'm always going to say this, but you cannot lie to anybody who has heavy Scorpio energy. This is heavy. Mars and Scorpio is heavy. It's and if you do go under the radar and try to pass off some stuff and they don't catch it, they gonna catch it eventually. That shit gonna get got. That shit gonna get caught. I'm just letting you know. Like, this is not the type of energy that could just easily teeter-totter. No. They know. These motherfuckers know. They have occult knowledge. They have knowledge. They see things that you probably can't even see. You know what I mean? Like, they work with death. They work with people who have passed on. They work with deities. They work with spirits. Not to say that this is what you do specifically. I'm just talking about in general. This is the energy that you have. This is the energy that you have. You have the capacity to do this. It gets deep. It gets real deep. I always talk about the energy of Scorpio out of all the 3 water signs, but specifically with Mars here. But I always talk about this as being like the deep fucking sea. Even though Scorpio is a scorpion per se, but if we're talking about the waters and just how deep the waters run, this is like the bottom of the fucking ocean. The fucking light bugs, them little bugs with the little light on it. Them. Okay? Nobody knows what the bottom of the ocean looks like except for these fucking light bug niggas. Like, these are the only motherfuckers that know. And this is what we talk about when we talk about Scorpio. Okay? Mars and Scorpio. You know, they get deep. They go beyond the surface. They are a direct channel to the underworld. Just saying. You know what I mean? This, when people get to talk about dark magic and all that kind of bullshit, you know what I'm saying? Mars and Scorpio. And I don't really necessarily, like, I'm going to talk about that on another video. Like, when we talk about light magic and dark magic, magic is magic at the end of the day. But if we're talking about, like, spellings and spells and hexes and all that, Mars and Scorpio. You know what I mean? Definitely. They know how to hold on to things. They know how to hold on to grudges very tightly. Mars and Taurus, or just Taurus energy, sits on the opposite side of Scorpio. It's very hard for them to let go. And Mars and Scorpio is also ruled by their emotions as well. They might not never admit it to you, but baby, their emotions is what makes them powerful. Not the mind, their emotions, because they have a lot of them. They have a lot of deep-seated emotions that they do not emote. It takes a real, a person that's very emotionally intelligent and a person that's actually connected to their emotions for them to be able to emote in that way, or for them to be able to react or respond in a way that is just like, oh shit, you know what I'm saying? What I will say is Mars and Scorpio can be blunt, but as far as like just letting down their guard and letting their emotions openly and willingly out to people or somebody, it's not really, that's not, you know what I mean? That's not Mars and Scorpio's strong suit, in that say. Or just to say that they don't reveal it, but their emotions that they do harness and all the emotions that they have that they keep inside are powerful. And like I said in the beginning, you can either use that to your benefit, or you can literally destroy everything in your path. Like a fucking tornado just coming through your fucking city, coming through your fucking neighborhood, just slamming shit across, you know what I mean? Shit over here, shit over there, houses over here, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? It gets deep. Shit gets deep. You know what I mean? So, definitely we call this OPM, other people's money. So it's easy for a Mars and Scorpio to pull in other people's funds. You know what I'm saying? Easy for them to manifest material, you know, objects, and, you know, gain material gain quicker than others, because it's easy for them to just use, like I said, using their emotions in order to pull the strings or pull on them strings. And one might think that this might be a manipulative, and to a certain degree, maybe, all right? But the ability to be able to tap in like that to somebody's emotions and being able to pull and pull out them pockets and pull, I mean, it's a skill. You know what I mean? Like, you're working with something there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna just let y'all be the judge of that. But really, like, that's a powerful skill to have, to just be able to attract some shit to you without having to do too much to get it to you. Very much so psychologist, the zodiac, if we're talking about Mars and Scorpio, and specifically the psychologists, the surgeons, able to, the probing into the brain, probing into the mind. This is psychological. So these are the type of energy that you could see working in hospitals, same asylums. They're able to go there. They're able to handle that level of, you know, they're able to handle vast amounts of trauma. Not even just theirs, other people's trauma, other people's pain, other people's hurt, other people's anger. They're able to handle that energy. You know what I mean? They're able to work with that energy. They can also use your powers against you if you allow them to. That's another thing that Mars and Scorpio can be good for, defeating enemies. You know what I mean? Seeing things 10 steps ahead of you, so when it comes to them, they're like, all right, I already got you figured out. I already read what you gonna do, where you gonna go, how you gonna do it. Easy to trigger. Mars and Scorpio is easy. They know where your triggers are, and they will poke at your triggers if they go there. You know what I mean? But Mars and Scorpio really does teach you, you know, we talk about Mars and Aries as an identification of the self and knowing who you are, but Mars and Scorpio gets deeper. Mars and Scorpio goes into the internal, you know, just really deep. We talk about the Phoenix rising. You know, this is Pluto energy of going down really deep and getting that sense of like where the darkness lies, and being able to seek and move through that, and being able to pull that up into the surface. You know what I mean? Mind control is another thing that I put on here. This is like the cult leaders, along with Mars and Aquarius, but we're going to get into that. This is like the cult leaders of the zodiac, because it's easy for Scorpio to get people to follow, or get people to using or harnessing that energy to get people to pull people over, or persuading people over to believe what they believe. Very obsessive energy as well. This is, man, and this is, and when I say obsessive too, like, I'm obsessed with astrology. I'm not a Mars and Scorpio per se, but like, I'm obsessed with astrology. So there's healthy obsessions that you can have, you know what I'm saying? But there's also, you know, obsessions that kind of can get you know what I mean, that could kind of get a little deep. You know, we talking about detective energy. Detective energy, another word for detective energy is stalking. You know what I mean? Like, detective is really just another way of stalking. Digging deep, following, you know, kicking it outside your fucking house. You know, going over your phone calls and your phone screens and your bills, and, you know, getting into your records and really probing, like, on a sense of, like, you know what I'm saying? So I think for this Mars and Scorpio energy, this is for you to come in to learn how to master your own emotions. Very much so. for people coming into this energy or understanding or getting to know it, Mars and Scorpio, this is a type of energy where you are learning how to master your mind. Because if Mars and Scorpio can't tap into your shit, then they can't control you. There's no way for them to be able to, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that this is just solely y'all's MO is just to control motherfuckers and just get over. I'm just not saying that. But what I am saying is you have the ability to do these things. You have a lot of your own personal power, and recognizing that you have a lot of your own personal power. When you do recognize that you have that energy in you, it's easy for you to control the situations around you. And when I say that, I mean you are, like I said, with the Phoenix rising energy, the creator of your own reality. And so when you're putting good things into your mind, when you're going to put in good things into your spirit, when you're thinking good thoughts and good emotions, you know, the whole trajectory of your life will change, because this is what you've been feeding yourself and this is what you've been putting into your mind. So definitely, especially with your emotions, Mars and Scorpio, you just want to be mindful as far as like what you're thinking, the people that you're surrounded by, your thoughts and things like that, because they definitely have an influence over your you have control of these things, but other people can control that if you don't have that self-control within yourself. It's easy for people to manipulate you versus you doing the same to your environment or people, you know what I'm saying, in your circle. So definitely that. Very intense energy. Mars and Scorpio is probably observing you as you are observing them. They probably know damn near everything, almost damn near everything about you, you know, because they've been doing their research. Don't sleep. One eye open, don't sleep, because they probably already know. Hidden desires, making the right moves, like I said, very strategic. Now, if we talking about what I put, alchemist, fights, and makeup sex, challenge, hungry eyes gaze, or just, you know, Scorpios have this, so Mars and Scorpios have this pull about them without having to do anything. I say this in all Scorpio videos, but really Mars and Scorpio is probably like the prime dawn of this, you know what I'm saying? Like the head honcho of this group, of like not having to say too many words or not having to say too many things, but is still able to pull that, you know, in. And another thing that I know about Mars and Scorpio too is like they crave intimacy. They might act like they don't, but, or act aloof or as if they're not interested because they're trying to protect their deep-seated emotions, but they crave intimacy. They crave, like, you know, just that emotional connection, that emotional bond, to the point even sometimes it can be kind of like vampire-ish, like, you know, kind of taken away, like, you know what I mean? Like it can definitely be that kind of energy. So you want to make sure, Mars and Scorpio, that you know, kind of have that within yourself, that you have that confidence and that esteem within yourself, that you're not looking outside of yourself to attach that energy, you know, or attach yourself to somebody else's energy in order for you to feel, you know, good about yourself, or in order for you to feel, no, you have that power once again in you, and you don't need another person or another being to feel that. The person that's coming into your shit, I mean, Mars is a different kind of energy than Venus, but you know what I mean? So I say that to say, not to say that Mars and Scorpio can't have like one night stands kind of sex or quickies and things like that, but all in all, a Mars and Scorpio, before they do have that, you know, connection to somebody, they kind of need, to a certain degree, like that mental, emotional connection with somebody. Like, again, I'm gonna say this again. It's not to say that they won't get down, fuck it, and just be like, let's just do it. Not to say that they won't do that, but deep down inside, they are creating like that bond with somebody, that energy, you know what I'm saying, that spiritual bond. So Mars and Scorpio definitely wants to be, you want to be mindful about the people that you have sex with, because you do, Scorpio energy, you do bond with these people. You create bonds with people through sex. So when you have sex with people, people can pull onto your energy because of the energy that you harness. So you just want to be mindful about who you throwing that shit to, or who you giving it to, because essentially they can take that same energy and use it for their own will. You know what I'm saying? So definitely that emotional energy, sexual pull, hungry eyes, you know what I'm saying, looking at you like, you know, you a fucking snack. Okay. And I wouldn't say that if we talking about flirting or going after a person, that Mars and Scorpio is necessarily the type that's going to come up to you and tell you what they want. Like I said, you want to look at the third house. You want to look at other aspects in the chart. And things like that. But for the most part, Mars and Scorpio is going to pull you in to them versus them coming to you. Very much so. They probably go through a lot of missed opportunities as far as like, you know, creating that sexual energy, because they're waiting for something to come to them. Now, in terms of work, in terms of the things that they passionate about, oh, they go all in. Ain't no stopping the Mars and Scorpio for that. But as far as like intimacy and relationships, because they're already on guard for the most part, yeah, they gonna try to get you to pull into them through like, you know, subtle, passive, you know, kind of energy, until they realize that you're interested in them, and then they'll be like, all right, well, maybe I'm interested in you type shit. So yeah, that's Mars and Scorpio for that ass. Definitely very sexy sign, very sensual in a sense of like craving intimacy and needing to just have that deep emotional bond in order for them to connect. But other than that, my analysis of Mars and Scorpio, like I said, you already know where to find me. My name is Crew. You can also call me a Rainy Storm. And like I said, definitely check out that Mars activation series. And like I said, you can find me on all social media. Link in bio to my website if you're trying to book that. Tip that. Nope, not that. But other than that, I'll see y'all in the next one. Next week, we're going to be moving through Sagittarius through Pisces. So I'll see y'all soon.